Ever get those migraines that feel like someone set off fireworks inside your head?
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
You are definitely not alone.
Not by a long shot.
So today we are going to take a deep dive into how acupressure, which is rooted in traditional Chinese medicine,
Right.
might be able to offer some relief.
Yep.
We're going to be looking at an article on TCM techniques.
Sounds good.
And just a quick reminder before we get too far,
Yeah.
this is for informational purposes only, not medical advice.
Of course, of course.
Always talk to your doctor for personalized health concerns.
Always a good idea.
Now, when we say migraine, what are we talking about here? We're talking about that really intense, throbbing pain,
Yeah.
often on just one side of your head.
Right.
Maybe you even get some nausea, or you're really sensitive to light and sound.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's different from just a simple headache.
For sure.
And TCM actually has a very unique way of looking at it.
It does, it does. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about this flow of qi.
Okay.
It's just like this vital energy
Right.
that flows through pathways in your body. They call these pathways meridians.
Okay.
And migraines, from this perspective, are often linked to like an imbalance in this energy flow,
Okay.
specifically something called liver qi.
Liver key.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of intense.
It's not as bad as it sounds.
like something out of like a kung fu movie.
Maybe a little bit, but think about it this way.
Okay.
TCM sees the liver as responsible for this smooth flow of energy, this qi, throughout your entire system.
Okay.
And when that flow is disrupted, whether it's by stress or diet or other things, it can manifest as all sorts of symptoms,
Okay.
including those awful migraines.
So like imagine if you had a traffic jam, but it was energy in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the kind of imbalance we're talking about.
Okay. So it's not just about like the liver in the way that we typically think about it. It's more about this energy flow
Exactly.
that can get out of whack.
Exactly. And that's where acupressure comes in.
Okay.
Because it targets specific points along these energy pathways, these meridians,
Okay.
and it aims to help clear those blockages
Okay.
and restore that balance.
So it's like a reset button for your chi.
Pretty much. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
giving your body a little nudge in the right direction.
I like it. So how do we actually find these acupressure points?
Well, good news is our source gives us 10 key ones.
10.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to walk through each of these, but just to be clear, you don't need to like memorize all of these at once.
No, not at all.
This is more about just kind of exploring.
Exactly.
First up, let's tackle GB8, also known as Shuaigu.
Okay.
Now, this point, you can find it about a finger width and a half above the top of your ear.
Okay.
There's a slight depression there.
Gotcha. GB8 is often used for headaches, especially those with dizziness, maybe even some ear ringing.
Okay.
That's because this point in TCM, it's thought to regulate the flow of qi in the head and neck.
Okay, that makes sense. But I also noticed in the source that it says GB8 can help with, like, stress and irritability,
Interesting, right.
which seems like a little bit of a jump from headaches.
It does, but that's where TCM really shines.
Okay.
Because it emphasizes the interconnectedness of like your physical and your emotional well-being.
Okay.
So the same point that could relieve physical tension might also be able to help with that emotional stress.
Okay.
Because in TCM, they view those things as totally intertwined.
So even if you don't get migraines, paying attention to this point could be good for, like, general well-being.
Exactly. Think of it like a little check-in point for your overall balance.
I like it.
Now, moving on, how about TE23
Okay.
or Sizukong? And this one, you'll find it at the very outer edge of your eyebrow.
Okay.
You know that spot that you instinctively press when you've been staring at a screen for too long?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're instinctively doing acupressure because TE23 is known for relieving tired eyes. But it can also be really helpful for headaches that feel like they're concentrated around your temples.
Interesting. It's like our bodies have these built-in pressure points, and we might already be using them without even realizing it.
It's true, it's true.
Speaking of tension, the next point on our list is SI12, or Bing Feng. And this one is on your upper back, kind of between your shoulder blade and your spine.
Okay.
Now, this one seems a little off-topic for migraines. Why would we target the back for a headache?
This is a great example of how TCM takes this very holistic view of the body.
Okay.
Because SI12 is known to relieve pain in the upper back and shoulders, but it's also thought to address headaches that stem from tension in those areas.
Okay.
So think about it. How often are you hunched over a computer?
Right, all the time.
Right. And that tension, it can travel up your neck and then manifests as a headache.
So by releasing the tension in the back, we might indirectly be relieving pressure in the head.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
It really is.
Now, let's shift gears for a second
Okay.
and move down to the lower body, specifically to a point called BL61,
Okay.
or pukan, which is found on the outside of your ankle, right behind that bony bump that's there.
Right, right. BL61 is often used for relieving pain and tension in your lower legs and ankles.
Right.
But here's what's really interesting. Even though it's so far from your head, it's also thought to be able to help with headaches.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this just highlights how the energy, the chi, flows through all those meridians.
Okay.
And that imbalances in one area
Mm-hmm.
can manifest as symptoms in a totally different area.
So it's like a domino effect. One thing leads to another, and then boom, you've got a headache seemingly out of nowhere.
Exactly, exactly.
Let's journey back up to the face
Okay.
with BL2, also known as Zansu. And this point, you can find it right at the inner corner of your eyebrow,
Okay.
like right where the bridge of your nose meets your forehead.
Gotcha.
So BL2 is often used for sinus pain, blurry vision,
Yeah.
even like eye twitching or dryness.
Interesting.
It's also believed to help reduce pain and swelling in the face.
Wow.
It's like a multitasker for anything happening around your eyes or your forehead.
It really is. It's like a little reset button for your face.
I can already see myself trying this one out next time I have a headache coming on or I'm feeling stressed.
I think we all do that without realizing it.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Okay, next up on our acupressure adventure, we have ST5, or daying. You'll find this one just in front of the corner of your jaw.
Okay.
There's like a slight dip there.
Right, right. ST5 is another very versatile point.
Okay.
It's known for relieving jaw tension,
Mhm.
toothaches, even facial paralysis, which
All right.
is pretty wild.
Wow, okay.
But what's really interesting to me is its connection with the throat and the neck.
Okay.
It can be really helpful for throat pain, stiffness in the neck. Again, you see that interconnectedness that TCM always emphasizes.
So if you're someone who like clenches their jaw when they're stressed, this might be a good point to explore.
Definitely.
Okay, moving on, we have CV16, or Zongting. This one's located right in the center of your chest,
Okay.
at the level of your fifth rib.
Okay, so this one's all about restoring balance in your chest and your upper body.
Okay.
It can help with chest congestion, heart palpitations, even reflux, which is pretty wild.
Okay.
But what I think is really fascinating is it might also help with coughing and shortness of breath.
Wow, okay. It's like the Swiss Army knife of like chest and respiratory issues.
It really is. Who knew one point could do so much?
All right, let's head back up to the head.
Okay.
Specifically GV19, also called howding.
Okay.
It sits right at the top of your head, in line with the back of your ears.
Right, right. GV19 is often used to treat dizziness,
Mm-hmm.
tension headaches, that stiff neck we all get.
Yeah.
But what I find really intriguing is its potential to quiet the mind
Okay.
and even alleviate some anxiety.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, a little gentle pressure on GV19 might be just the ticket to finding some peace and quiet.
Exactly.
They're in the home stretch now.
All right.
Next up is LV3,
Okay.
or Taisheng, located on the top of your foot in the webbing between your big toe and your second toe.
Oh, okay. So remember how we talked about liver chi earlier?
Yes.
Well, LV3 is considered a really key point for regulating that flow.
Okay.
So by stimulating this point, it can help to soothe irritability, stress, anger,
Okay.
but it's not just for your emotional well-being.
Okay.
LV3 is also used to address digestive disorders,
Wow.
menstrual cramps, even lower abdominal pain.
It's amazing how one point can have so many different far-reaching effects.
Pretty amazing. The body's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, we have LV8, also known as Kwakwan. And you can find this point on the inside of your knee, just above the crease.
Right, right. So LV8 is a powerful point for knee pain,
Okay.
menstrual irregularities, even urinary problems.
Okay.
But what I find most intriguing is its potential to nourish what TCM calls liver yin.
Liver yin.
Yeah, and reduce those heat symptoms that often come with migraines.
So to be clear, when we say heat in TCM, we're not talking about like a fever.
Right, right. No, it's not like a literal temperature.
It's more about like this energetic imbalance.
Exactly. It's a metaphor for certain imbalances that might manifest as headaches, irritability, even redness.
So think of it as like your internal thermostat being out of whack.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
So by stimulating LV8, we might be able to cool down those heat symptoms, so to speak, and kind of bring things back into balance.
Exactly.
Now, that was a lot of points.
It was a lot of points.
You might be thinking, can I just press all of these at once?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or is there a specific order that I should do them in?
It's not necessarily about doing them all at once or in a specific order.
Okay.
It's really more about
Okay.
tuning into your body,
Okay.
figuring out which of those points feel, I don't know, more tender,
Okay.
more responsive when you press on them.
Okay.
And those are the ones that likely need the most attention.
Okay.
So I always say experiment,
Yeah.
see what works best for you.
It's almost like you're creating your own, like,
Yeah.
pressure point playlist.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what feels right for you might be totally different
Totally.
from what works for someone else.
Absolutely.
This whole approach, though, with acupressure,
Yeah.
it feels really empowering. You're not just like passively waiting for relief.
Right.
You're actively participating in making yourself feel better.
That's one of the things that I love most about acupressure
Yeah.
is that it encourages you to actually pay attention to your body,
Mm-hmm.
to be present in your body,
Yeah.
and start to learn what it's trying to tell you.
Like you're learning a new language.
Exactly.
The language of your own body.
Language of your body.
Yeah.
And the more you practice,
Yeah.
the more fluent you become,
Yeah.
right? You start to notice patterns and connect the dots and get a much deeper understanding of what's going on inside.
Yeah. And the coolest thing to me is that you don't need any fancy equipment.
Right?
You don't need to go to like TCM school.
No, not at all.
You have the power right
At
there.
your fingertips, you can do this anytime, anywhere.
Which is such a relief, especially when you're dealing with like a migraine
Oh, absolutely.
where you might not have access to medication right away or a doctor.
Right, exactly.
You know?
It's like having a toolkit for self-care in your back pocket,
Yes, exactly.
or I guess in your fingertips in this case.
Right. Literally.
Literally.
And I imagine that knowing these points could even be helpful if you're not having like a full-blown migraine.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
maybe you can just like feel a headache coming on, or you're just stressed and you need like a way to unwind.
Totally, yeah. Think of these points as like allies for your overall well-being.
Okay.
They can definitely be part of a preventative approach, helping you to manage that stress and that tension and those little aches and pains
Yeah.
before they escalate into something more serious.
So it's not just about treating the symptoms after they happen.
Right.
It's about like cultivating this awareness
Exactly.
of your body and how to support it.
That's the beauty of TCM. It's all connected.
Yeah. Okay. Now, our source did mention a video course. It's by Eric Duchesne. It's called Pain Relief, Acupressure and Massage Techniques.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever seen that one?
I have. It's a great resource if you want to go deeper into those techniques.
Yeah, Tay.
Learn some other applications because there's a lot beyond just migraines
Oh, for sure.
that you can use this for.
Yeah. And just a reminder for our listeners, if you are interested in learning more about those other types of headaches, like congestive headaches,
Right, right.
we did do a whole deep dive on those a while back.
We did. We'll link that one in the show notes for anybody who wants to check it out.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so to kind of wrap up this deep dive into acupressure for migraine relief, what would be your biggest takeaway for listeners?
I think the biggest thing is to approach it with that curiosity and that open mind. Don't be afraid to play around with it. Find what works for you. Because everybody's a little bit different.
So true.
So what works for one person might not work for another, so don't be afraid to experiment a little.
It's all about finding what feels right for you and your body.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you're the expert on you.
You know your body better than anybody else.
Yes.
Trust your gut. Trust what you're feeling.
Love it. Love it. Okay, now before we completely sign off here, I do want to leave everyone with something to think about.
Okay.
Go back to those 10 acupressure points we talked about today.
Yeah.
Which one really spoke to you?
Ooh, good question.
Which one are you curious about?
Yeah.
Was it GB8, the stress buster point, behind the ear?
Right?
Maybe it was LV3, the liver chi regulator point
Okay.
on the foot.
I like it.
Whatever it was, whatever point really kind of piqued your interest, I would encourage you to spend a little bit of time with it. Gently massage it and just see what you notice.
See what happens.
You never know.
Yeah.
Your body might surprise you.
Your body might have a lot to say. You just got to listen. Yeah. It's kind of like, what's that saying?
Yeah.
Listen to your body when it whispers.
So you don't have to hear it shout.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And acupressure can be that like that first step
Totally,
to
yeah.
starting that conversation.
I love that. All right, well, on that note, we'll let you get back to your day, hopefully with some new insights
Yes,
and a little less tension in your head.
there we go.
Until next time, happy healing.